Manchester United reportedly have had a bid rejected for Portuguese wonder kid João Neves. United also targeting Sporting Lisbon's Gonçalo Inácio, and some truths revealed about what happened between Casemiro and Erik ten Hag just before the FA Cup final. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 200 likes on today's show. And if this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be live throughout the whole of the transfer window. I usually do a show in the morning, a show in the evening, and if anything breaks during the day, I do go live as well. So if you want to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk, make sure you subscribe to Daily Red Devil and get involved with the amazing community we have built here. Right. So much to get into on the show this morning. Obviously, we're still waiting to find out what is going on with Erik ten Hag. We'll talk a little bit about that. There is some more stories, some more murmurs coming out around when we're going to find out about Erik ten Hag's future. But a lot of the focus today is going to be on transfers, which is, I'll be honest, I really, really like. Transfers excite me. I don't know, there's this weird buzz, isn't there, during the transfer window where everyone's so excited. There's a sense of hopefulness again. There's a sense of looking forward to the next season, etc., etc. So let's start the show off by talking a little bit about Gonçalo Inácio then. Now, very, very talented player. Obviously plays his football for Sporting Lisbon in the Portuguese league. Sent back, 22 years of age. I think he'd be a really, really interesting option. And the story this morning is coming out from a couple of different journalists saying that Manchester United are now preparing to move forward with a proposal to sign Gonçalo Inácio. It says the offer may be presented in the next couple of days. United are the best placed club to convince Inácio and Sporting Lisbon. Informal contacts have already taken place between the two parties. If we were to sign Gonçalo Inácio and Todibo, that would be, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. Honestly, that would be unbelievable. I would definitely rather those two opposed to Jared Brathwaite, because I just think that Gonçalo Inácio at the age of 22 looks better than what Jared Brathwaite does. I know they're about the same age. And the really interesting thing with Gonçalo Inácio is he predominantly is a centre-back, right? But he can play at left-back and he can play at CDM. So he gives you lots and lots of different options, which I really like. Whereas, you know, Jared Brathwaite is a left-sided centre-back. That's all he can do. He can play as he can't play as a right-sided centre-back. He can only play as a left-sided centre-back, which I think is a little bit limiting when you think that obviously we've got Martinez in that position, who is a left-sided centre-back. So I think someone like Gonçalo Inácio would be a really, really good signing for Manchester United. He's available for, his release clause is around £50 million, which I think is reasonable. It is a lot of money, obviously, but I do think it's reasonable. 60 million euros or 51 million pounds is his release clause, which, you know, when you think we paid 80 million for Harry Maguire, we paid, I think, how much did we pay for Martinez? Was it about 50 million for Martinez? Around that kind of fee? I think it was about, 45, 50 million we paid for Martinez. And obviously he's quite a lot older than Gonçalo Inácio. So yeah, for me personally, if I'm Manchester United, I would go and sign Jean-Claire Todibo and Gonçalo Inácio. Those would be my two signings. I'd let Johnny Evans go. Obviously, his contract's expired. I'd let Varane go. His contract's expired. I would sell Lindelof. And I would personally keep Martinez. I'd keep Willy Camboala. I'd keep Maguire as a backup. I think he is quite good in some games. I think he offers something different to all of those other people. I think, you know, if you're playing against a team where you want to play a low block, Maguire is one of the best in the world at that. Obviously, that's not what Man United want to play like, but there's always going to be some games where you have to be a bit more defensive, and Maguire is good at, you know, commanding his box. So that's what I would do personally, but let me know what you guys think. It'll be really interesting to see how quickly these stories seem to develop, you know? But yeah, for me personally, Gonçalo Inácio, I think he'd be an absolutely incredible signing. I think he would be exactly what we need. And I think him alongside Todibo and Martinez, I honestly think that would be three of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. I genuinely think. And I think that we could, you know, achieve great things with them. So hopefully this deal happens. The thing that I want to say, actually, that really interests me is obviously there's all these stories saying that Bruno Fernandes might leave, right? And that he wants to be convinced of the project. do we think there's a coincidence here that Man United are targeting Portuguese players, and we're showing some intention for the next season? You know, if we get Gonçalo Inácio and we get João Neves, who we'll talk about in a minute, I think that shows people like Bruno Fernandes our intentions, and it shows him that we actually mean business. So I do wonder whether that has any part in it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's completely wayward. But I did just have a little feeling this morning that it's strange that we're so actively going after these Portuguese talents. Right, let's move on to Casemiro. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but I think it's important to bring into the show. So Sofian Amrabat's brother did an interview a couple of days ago, and he was talking about, obviously, Amrabat's time at Manchester United and all the rest of it. And Sofian Amrabat was also talking about Casemiro and about what happened between Casemiro and Erik ten Hag. So if anybody's unaware of what happened here, Casemiro apparently was told he was going to play in the FA Cup final, right? And then the day before, Erik ten Hag decides he doesn't want him to play anymore and instead picks Amrabat. So Casemiro's brother has come out, and then Manchester United kind of brushed it under the carpet by saying that Casemiro was injured, even though I don't think he was injured. So anyway, Amrabat's brother's come out saying that Casemiro was not injured in the FA Cup final. He found out that he wouldn't start the game, so he thought to himself, okay, I will sit in the stands then. But he was fit and available to play. There was a lot of rumours going around at the time that this was true, but obviously you don't really want to focus on rumours on, the day of our biggest game of the season against Man City. But it's really interesting that Amrabat's brother has pretty much come out and confirmed that, Casemiro wasn't injured. He was upset that he wasn't picked, and he effectively refused to play. And I think that pretty much says it all, that Casemiro's career at Manchester United is over. We won't see him in a Man United shirt again. He'll be sold to the Saudi league. There are multiple clubs in Saudi who want to sign Casemiro. They're apparently willing to offer decent money for him. The stories coming out this morning are that Ronaldo's apparently been in contact with Casemiro, trying to, convince him of the project of coming to Saudi. So I think, Casemiro going to Saudi is very, very high. I think the likelihood of that. Let's see what we've got here. Big ups to Fred, who's just gifted 5 memberships to the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you for all of your support, my friend. Anybody who's just been gifted a membership, please do make sure you say thank you to Fred in the comment section. And everyone who's just joined the video, do me a small favour and smash a like. Let's try and see 200 likes on this morning's show. So please go and do that. If everybody who's watching the video now hits the like button, we will hit that like target. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do go and subscribe as well, because there's going to be so much content for you throughout the transfer window. So if you want to, keep up to date on all of the Manchester United news, make sure you subscribe. Right, so that's Casemiro out the way. I imagine Casemiro will be sold. And I've got a question for you, okay? The question is simple. Do you want Sofian Amrabat to stay at Manchester United? Anybody watching the video back on repeat, get in the comment section. You can either say Amrabat stay or Amrabat go. Let me know in the comment section right now. And we're going to do a poll as well. Let me just set up this poll quickly. But yeah, anybody who's watching this back on repeat and can't get involved in the poll, you can go in the comment section and either say Amrabat stay or Amrabat go. What would you do with Amrabat? Sign 19 million release clause. Send back to Fiorentina. Right. Just to give you a bit of context as well, if we want to keep Amrabat on a permanent deal, we'll have to pay £19 million to Fiorentina. Obviously, if we send him back, we pay nothing. So it's a good bit of business, I think. And is he world class? No, but I think he's a good squad player. I think he's better than Eriksen at this point in Eriksen's career. I think he's better than Casemiro at this point in his career. I think he offers more than McTominay, to be honest, especially in a defensive position. So yeah, I would definitely keep Amrabat, I think. For £19 million, if we went and got Amrabat and we also got João Neves, I think that's a really, really solid 2 signings. If you got... Imagine if this was your summer, right? You get Jean-Claire Todibo, Gonçalo Inácio, I think 50 million for Gonçalo Inácio, 40 million for Todibo, that's 90 million. You then go and get Amrabat for 19 million. That will be, you're up to about 110 million now. And then you sign João Neves as well. we'll talk about him in a minute, and then you get a striker, I think that would be a really solid window. Obviously, we need to look at left backs and right backs if people leave, but I think those would fill the main issues in our squad. Because attacking wise, I think, Garnacho's been decent. I think Ahmad's been decent. I think, we have options in those attacking areas. Anthony, not so much, but I think the main issue has been the midfield, hasn't it? And the defence. So I think if we strengthen that massively, it should put us in a better position for next season. So hopefully that happens. Let's talk a little bit about João Neves then. So this story's coming out from various different journalists in Portugal, and they are reporting that Manchester United have submitted a bid of around £50 million for Benfica's João Neves. It says the bid has been rejected by Benfica. Benfica want at least £85 million for João Neves. Now, that's a hell of a lot of money. £85 million. Is he 19 still? Yeah, he's 19 years of age. João Neves. The thing which I think is crazy about this story, right, is if Benfica values João Neves at 85 million, right, how much does that mean Kobbie Mainoo's worth? Like, surely Kobbie Mainoo would be valued at 85 million then. Because they're both the same age. They've both been playing at the, they've both been playing competitively for about the same amount of time, as in playing, in the Premier League, playing in whatever, Europe. It's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely mad how much people are trying to charge for young players. Crazy. But would I sign João Neves? I think he'd be a good signing. Him and Kobbie Mainoo, that's your midfield sorted for the next 10 years. You're literally sorted. And then if you had Amrabat as a backup, I don't think I could be any more happy with that. But the big thing with this is whether Man United have the money to be able to spend 85 million on one player. I think 50 million is a lot of money, but I think it's, within their reach. But 85, I think, if you need a striker, two centre-backs, a midfielder, etc., but then you spend 85 on one player, I just think that it's too much money. But obviously, what we do have to consider is a lot of these deals are split over. These deals are split over a long period of time. So even if we pay £85 million for him, right, we could probably pay that over the next 5 or 6 years. So really, it's only like £15 million a season. Does that make sense? So it's not like Benfica are going to say you need to give us £85 million up front, because it never works like that. It's always split over like five years. I would like to see João Neves at Manchester United. I think he'd be a quality signing. I think him and Mainoo together would be absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Obviously, at the moment, Man United have apparently had this low offer rejected. They're going to have to pay a lot more money. I think his release clause is somewhere around 100 million euros, which is crazy. So 120 million euros is his release clause, which is about 100 million pounds. Absolutely mental. But apparently Man United want to sign him. He's one of their top targets. But the thing that surprises me about this a bit is we don't even know who the manager is. So how do we know that the manager... I mean, maybe they do already know who the manager is. That's the thing. We say we don't know who the manager is. I mean, we don't. But Ineos might have already decided that they're going to sack Erik ten Hag, and they might have already decided that, Thomas Tuchel's going to be the new manager. Like, that is a possibility. We don't know. And a lot of the time, these, maybe not under the Glazers regime, but under Ineos, I feel like they are keeping their cards quite close to their chest. I think it is quite difficult to get information sometimes, which is good and bad. I think a lot of the Man United fan base want to be communicated with more, but at the same time, if Ineos are saying it's our decision, it's not any of their involvement, which some United fans will be upset about, me included a little bit, it probably is better in some ways that they just announce Erik ten Hag's gone and this is going to be the new manager. Because imagine if they announced today that Erik ten Hag's going to be sacked and then we're literally talking about managers for the next month. Like, that would be so boring and tedious. If Erik ten Hag is going to go, they need to tell us who the new manager is immediately. Because that will show that they've actually thought about it. It will show that they've actually planned and that they have a plan in place. Opposed to announcing Erik ten Hag's gone and then for the next month we're literally talking about Thomas Tuchel, De Zerbi, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, moving over to the manager situation, there's a couple of journalists this morning saying that apparently Man United have been speaking to other managers. So outside of Thomas Tuchel, a couple of others as well. And apparently there's some surprise names in there. So I don't know. I have this is just my opinion, all right? But I have this feeling inside of me that Man United wanted to try and get Zidane. I think that was their number one target. And I think that that's what they've been almost holding out for. But that's just my opinion. I'm basing that off the fact that, Zidane's without a club. We know that Jean-Claude Blanc, Ineos really like Zidane. I feel like they're waiting for somebody like that, and it's just maybe not happened. And now they're kind of scraping around the barrel, looking at Tuchel, looking at De Zerbi, looking at Poch. But that's just my opinion. I might be completely way off there. Let's have a look. What have we got? What else we got? Kay says, Kieran, who do you think we will end up signing this summer? I think we'll get 2 centre-backs. I think we'll get a midfielder. I think we'll get a striker. That if we're going to pick specific names, I would go for Jean-Claire Todibo. I would go for Gonçalo Inácio. Those would be my 2 centre-backs. Midfield, I'd either look at Amadou Onana from Everton, Youssouf Fofana from Monaco, or João Neves from Benfica. And then striker, I'd look at either Benjamin Sesko, Xerxes, maybe Ivan Toney, maybe, but maybe not. Big ups to Alex, who's just joined the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you for your support, my friend. If you do want to join the Members Club, it's only 99p a month. You get a badge next to your name. You support the channel. So yeah, if you are in a position to support the channel that way, please do that. Get involved. It really helps us to do bigger and better things in the future. And if you're not able to do that, then please smash a like. It doesn't cost you any money. What else have we got? Let's see what people are saying in the comments today then. Ten Hag in says, what's everyone's view on Bruno? Will it be good and refreshing to let him go? Will it be bad due to experience and creativity? Mount is not good enough to fill Bruno's boots. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Thanks for bringing that up. The Bruno story isn't going away. Bruno Fernandes' agent is actively talking to other clubs in Europe trying to find a move for him. Now, Bruno's position at the moment is that he wants to stay at Manchester United, but he wants to be convinced of the project. And that's why I thought it was interesting that we're going for players like João Neves. We're going for people like Gonçalo Inácio, people that Bruno Fernandes knows through the national team, people that, to me shows that we're trying to do things, Like, if we sign João Neves and Gonçalo Inácio, people will look at those 2 signings and think those are really good signings. Whereas, say we get, I don't know, Jared Brathwaite and Tosin, I don't think it will have that same impact, personally. And the news I'm getting is that apparently Bruno Fernandes is effectively wanting to be sold the project. He wants to know what's going to happen. He wants to know who the manager is. He wants to know what players they're going to sign. What's the goals for next season? Is it going to be Europe? Do they want to win the Europa League? And at the moment, I think Ineos are probably struggling to be able to give any player or agent that information, because at the moment they don't know. So it's a bit of a mess. I know I keep saying it's a mess, but it is. Ice Wallow says, Daily Red Devil, do you rate Ivan Toney? Yeah, I do. I like Ivan Toney, but I just think £60 million for Ivan Toney at the age of 28, I don't really think is very good value for money, personally. Let's do a poll on it. So quickly, 73% of you want us to sign Amrabat, and 27% of you want us to sign to let Amrabat go. So that's interesting. Let's do one final poll before we end the video. Let's say, would you sign Ivan Toney for 60 million? Anybody watching back on repeat, you can let me know. Would you sign Ivan Toney for 60 million? Yes or no? You can write Tony yes or Tony no. Me personally, my preference for striker would be Benjamin Sesko, number 1 target. Then I'd probably go for Ivan Toney, and then I'd go for Xerxes, in that order. Those would be the kind of 3 options that I would go for. I think definitely Sesko would be the number 1 target. I think. I don't know why. I just think that Sesko has the highest ceiling. I think his age profile is good. I think you can already see that elevation with Benjamin Sesko, where he's just going to keep getting better and better and better. You know, he had a really good first season in the Bundesliga. He does well for the national team. He's only 20 years of age. I think he'd be a quality signing for Man United. And I think, you know, him having a release clause makes it a lot more easy. His release clause is about £50 million, which I actually think in the grand scheme of things is a bargain, to be honest. I know £50 million to me or you is a hell of a lot of money, but when you think that we paid what? How much did we pay for Rasmus Højlund? Was it 60, 70 million? Let me double check that. We paid about £65 million for Rasmus Højlund. Whereas, you know, if we could get Benjamin Sesko for 50, which is his release clause, I think that's a really good bit of business. But yeah, people in the chat are saying, what about Matheus Cunha? Yeah, Cunha is a really interesting option. We've been heavily linked to him in the last couple of days. Obviously, he already has Premier League experience, 25 years of age, available for around £50 million. So like the same amount of money as Benjamin Sesko. He got 12 goals and 7 assists last season in the Premier League. So, I mean, he had a really good season last year. I know Manchester United were trying to sign him before he went to Wolves. I know we were talking to Atletico Madrid about a loan with an obligation to buy. He is versatile. He can play as a left winger, a right winger, or a striker. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really thought of Matheus Cunha. He would be an interesting option, definitely. I think I would probably actually go as far as saying I would put Matheus Cunha above Ivan Toney. I would probably go Benjamin Sesko, Matheus Cunha, Ivan Toney, and then Xerxes as the last option. Those would be my kind of 4 main targets. Obviously, there's people like Osimhen, but we're never going to get Osimhen, so we've got to be realistic. We're not going to sign Osimhen. You know, there's people like Gonçalo Ramos who maybe you might be able to get because PSG, I don't think PSG had him on loan, didn't they? Yeah, that would be my preference. What else we got? Alex says, can you put the poll on the community tab as well? Yeah, which poll do you want me to do, mate? Let me know and I'll do it. Let me know which poll you want. Justin says 30 million for Tony would be good business. He gave us a hard time when we played against him. Mate, if we could get him for 30 million, then yeah, but he's not going to be 30 million. He's going to be about 60 or more. So, you know, yeah, of course, if we could get Ivan Toney for 30 million, I would sign him, but it's not going to be 30 million, mate. It'll be 60 plus. And, you know, when you could get, as we've said, Matheus Cunha, you can get Benjamin Sesko, who's only 20. You can get Xerxes, I think, for about 30 million. Now, you could probably sign Benjamin Sesko and Xerxes for about 10 million more than what Ivan Toney's going to cost. You could get 2 players. So, yes. Okay, yeah, Alex is saying to do the Ivan Toney one on the poll. Yeah, I'll set that up, mate. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. I will be back live at 6 o'clock later on today. I'm hoping we're going to get some news about the manager. So if we do get any news, I will go live. So make sure you subscribe. Please do smash a like on the video before you leave. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me today. Welcome to all the new members. Have a lovely day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all at 6 p.m. UK time.